Whiskers, the cat, sat on the warm windowsill, twitching his tail. He watched the little sparrows hopping in the garden. Same old birds, same old garden. Rover, his best friend, was a big, floppy-eared dog. Rover was currently having a lovely nap on the big, comfy rug in the living room. An exciting idea suddenly popped into Whiskers' clever little head. He would cook dinner for Rover. A proper cooked dinner, not just those boring old biscuits from a bag. Whiskers imagined Rover's tail wagging like a helicopter. He, Whiskers, would be the chef. Whiskers hopped down from the windowsill, his mind buzzing with plans. He had seen Mum in the kitchen many times. How hard could it be for a clever cat like him? He was sure he could manage it. It was time for Chef Whiskers to begin his culinary masterpiece for his dearest friend Rover. The kitchen was a land of giants for a small cat like Whiskers. He tried to jump onto the counter, but his first attempt was a bit short. Boing! He landed back on the floor with a soft thump. He tried again, wiggling his bottom, and then whoosh! He made it. Next, he spotted a bag of flour on a lower shelf. Suddenly, poof! The bag tipped over, and a big white cloud of flour puffed out everywhere. Whiskers was covered from the tip of his ears to the end of his tail in soft white flour. He sneezed a big sneeze, achoo! Sending more flour into the air. Wiping flour from his eyes with a paw, Whiskers decided to try opening a tin of fish. He found a tin of sardines, Rover's favorite. The tin opener looked very complicated. He battered it with his paw. It clattered loudly on the counter. He tried to copy how Mum used it, holding the tin with one paw and the opener with the other. "This is harder than it looks," he muttered, his brow furrowed in concentration. Meanwhile, in the living room, Rover the dog was starting to wake up from his nap. He stretched his long legs out with a big yawn. His nose twitched. He could smell something. It wasn't the usual smell of his dog biscuits, and it wasn't the smell of Mum's cooking either. It was a new smell, a mix of, well, he wasn't quite sure what it was. It made his tummy feel interested. Then he heard noises. Clatter, bang, a little sneeze that sounded suspiciously like Whiskers. What was that clever cat up to in the kitchen? Rover's ears perked up. Rover padded softly towards the kitchen door. He pushed it open a tiny crack with his wet nose, trying to peek inside. Back in the kitchen, Whiskers looked like a walking disaster. He had flour on his whiskers, a smudge of tomato sauce on his ear, and a tiny piece of sardine stuck to his tail. But he was not giving up. He had managed to get bits of fish, some broken spaghetti, a few dog biscuits for crunch, he decided, and a dollop of tomato puree into a big mixing bowl. He stirred it all together with a wooden spoon. The spoon was nearly as big as him, and it was hard work. The mixture looked very colourful and a bit lumpy. He tasted a tiny bit on the end of his paw. He thought, needs something. He spotted a jar of honey. Maybe honey would make it taste even better. He managed to unscrew the lid and poured a generous amount of sticky honey into the bowl. He stirred again. Now the mixture was sticky as well as lumpy and colourful. Ding! A little bell on the oven went off. Whiskers jumped. It was ready. He put on Mum's oven gloves, which were far too big for him, making him look like he had giant paws. Very carefully, he opened the oven door. A puff of warm, surprisingly delicious-smelling air wafted out. He peered inside. The dish was bubbly and golden brown on top. It actually looked amazing. He carefully pulled the dish out and placed it on the counter to cool down a little. He felt a thrill of pride. He, Whiskers the cat, had cooked a real meal. He took off the giant oven gloves and trotted to the kitchen door. "Rover!" he called out, his voice full of excitement. "Dinner is served!" Rover came bounding into the kitchen, his tail wagging so hard his whole body wiggled. He stopped short when he saw Whiskers, still a bit floury but beaming. Then he saw the dish on the counter.